Alright, Shalom. I want to start off as always by giving all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Bracha HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone. I want to send much love unto the brothers out there doing his work in truth and sincerity. And also I want to send peace and blessings unto the believers of the hopeful elect. And in this morning's lesson, I wanted to do a response video onto this video here that was put up by Corn Bureau. And as you can see, the title of his lessons read, "The UN's Terrifying Vision for Global Control by 2030. And this is a topic that the apostles, the elders, brothers have been speaking about for years. I know I have been talking about it damn near every month. I'm either speaking about the UN General Assembly, the WEF, the New World Order. I constantly speaks about these things because this is prophecy first and foremost. And this is what the elites are trying to push and trying to establish amongst every government in the world. Now in this lesson, he's going to speak about the UN General Assembly that happened back in September. He's going to speak about the Pact of the Future, all the things that they're trying to pretty much push with this agenda, man. All right. And as a believer, as an Israelite, this is something that you must understand. This is something that you have to educate yourself on, man. If you don't know about these things, you're missing out on a lot, okay? You're missing out on a lot, man. Yes, it's good to understand the scriptures and the prophecies, but you got to understand what it's talking about, though. Okay, you got to have the evidence of what the scripture is saying. And this UN General Assembly, this 2030 agenda is the evidence of what prophecy been telling us all along. Esau is about to establish this thing, man. He's coming, all right? And we got to prepare our minds for the hell, the trials, the persecution, everything, okay? Like, once you get into the UN General Assembly, you're reading about the global digital compact, man. Bro, once you get into that stuff, bro, you're like, okay, God, okay, this devil finna really bring hell on the world, okay? But he gonna do it in a nice way. He gonna present it, as something good, but it's not gonna be good, man. They're about to control everything. All right. So I want to play this video here. I'll probably play a good portion of it because all of it is good, and I'm not in no rush. I got time this morning. All right. So without further ado, let's get into this video, man. All right. Came out 13 days ago.
Asset managers, central banks, institutions, governments, the elite. All of these seem to control the world. But the question is, who controls them? Well, the answer appears to be the United Nations, which seems to be almost the de facto global government. As it turns out, the UN has been pulling the elite strings for quite some time. So today, we'll discuss the UN's latest Summit for the Future and tell you which strings they'll be pulling next. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the United Nations, here's everything you need to know. The United Nations, or UN, is the world's third major attempt at a peacekeeping entity, following the Concert of Europe, which was founded in 1815 and ended in 1914 as World War I broke out, and the League of Nations, founded after World War I in 1920 and which collapsed at the start of World War II in 1939. The United Nations was founded in 1945 at the end of World War II. When the UN was first created, it had 51 member states. Today, it recognizes 193 countries in the world, and has all of them under its belt, so to speak.
Right. And as of right now, there are only 2 nations who are not a part of the UN, and that's the Vatican City, okay, which is only 2 miles, but they're considered a nation, all right, the Vatican, and Palestine, okay. Palestine is not a part of the UN, but every other nation on earth, all right, 193 nations, it's 195 total, but 193 nations are a part of the UN. So this devil, all right, has all the nations pretty much under his thumb. They follow his way because the UN was created by Esau, not Moab, not Ammon, not Ishmael. The Edomites came up with this, okay? And that goes into prophecy, right? About how pretty much, these devils will have control over these nations, okay? Mainly Babylon the Great, because the UN General Assembly is held in Babylon inside of New York City, all right? But let's get this here in Revelation 13. All right, so you jump down here. This is Revelation chapter 13. Starting at verse 7, it says, "And it was given him to make war with the saints and to overcome them." So you see this here? Our downfall was prophesied in the scriptures. The him is talking about Esau, man, okay? They came and made war with the saints, all right, the children of Israel, and overcame us, right? During the transatlantic slave trade, right? 1492, they came over here to the northern kingdom, and so on and so forth, right? It says, "And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations." You see that? Esau has the power over all the heathen, man. Just like every other kingdom had the power over all the heathen, right? If you read about the Babylonians, okay, the Greeks, right? Assyria, when they were the top nation, all right, they were, the ones who reigned over the world, so to speak, okay? The known world at that time, right? So this is the same thing for Esau. He has the power, right? Verse 8 says, "And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world." So they're all worshiping Esau, man, okay? No matter you see, the tension between these nations, they still follow Esau ways, okay? If you look at China, Japan, right, South Korea, they do what America do. Matter of fact, damn near all America allies do what America do. Their women are whores. They, have women's liberation. They celebrate the rainbow community. They're Christians. Democracy. All of it. All right. They follow Esau, and this is biblical prophecy. Okay. So here we go.
Now, the UN's primary purpose is to uphold peace and prevent war, but it also has a long list of other responsibilities too, such as humanitarian efforts. These include protecting human rights, supporting sustainable development, and overseeing international cooperation. The UN also has its own military, which is tasked with global peacekeeping. And the UN even published a blog post on its website proposing a digital army to basically fight the spreading of misinformation online. As you'll no doubt know, this is basically code for limiting free speech. In any case, having a global entity supposed...
Right. Disinformation, man. Okay. What is disinformation according to Esau? Disinformation is information that's not in line with the global digital compact, the narrative that Esau pushes in the media. All right. Case in point, when the C-19 came about in 2020, almost every video that you did concerning the C-19 that wasn't in line with Esau's medical info was considered medical misinformation, right? They take your video down, give you a strike. No matter if you told the truth about it, the simple fact that you came out and said something that wasn't in line with what they pushed out, they took your video down. So what you think they're going to do, all right, with all our videos? You think you're going to have access to the videos and watch the apostles and watch brothers' videos? No. A time is coming to where you won't be able to click on our channels. They're going to take down everything that we do, okay? Because what we're saying, according to them, is all misinformation. And eventually, they're going to start locking people up like they do inside of Europe, okay? In the UK, if you posting something that they deem radical or just, far right, they come and lock you up and give you jail time. No matter the age range, okay? They will put you in jail. So that famine of the word is coming, okay? Of you hearing the word, right? You getting this thing, man. This is why it's important to get this word while you can. Make the best of every opportunity, bro. Okay, this thing is narrowing down. Here we go.
Supposedly dedicated to protecting the welfare of Earth and its inhabitants, may sound all well and good, but there's a big problem. You see, when a major institution like the UN says there's a global crisis of some sort, well, logically, there has to be a global response. This response would have to come from governments around the world, and the only way this response could really be coordinated is by a single global government. This is basically what the UN is designed to be. Anyway, scary thoughts aside, the UN has 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, that all 193 member states.
Right. The Sustainable Development Goals. If you've been watching my channel in particular consistently, you know about the Sustainable Development Goals. At least you should have somewhat understanding of it, because I talk about it all the time. I go to it all the time. I show it all the time, damn near. But at least speaking about it, right? If you haven't taken it upon yourself, man, to go look into those Sustainable Development Goals, shame on you. Shame on you, man, because you're going to be caught off guard by some of this. You got to get into this info, man. It's easy to pull it up, okay? I keep showing it. It's easy to pull it up, man. This is it. This is the UN official website, okay? This is their official website. If you're too lazy to go to, Google and type in the Global Digital Compact and go to the UN website, man, look, you're a goddamn shame. You're lazy and you're a damn loser, man. A damn loser, man. Here it is. Esau is showing you what he want to do. He's telling you. He's bold, man, and telling you to your face, this is what I'm going to do, and y'all niggas can't stop me. Okay? This devil is the devil, man. Roadmap to digital cooperation. Okay? Just go through it, man. Read some of this stuff. This devil wants total control. Okay? You see this? They want everything by 2030, right? They want everything accomplished by 2030, so to speak. Okay? But you should go through this stuff, man. And learn something. Okay? Learn something, bro. This is serious business. digital public infrastructure, right? They need this infrastructure in place, right, to connect everything. You know, I'm sure you heard the apostle speaks about the Internet of Things, right? All of this matters. Okay, all of this matters, man. Join us in shaping a secure and inclusive digital future for all. I wonder what that's about. I wonder what that is about, man. Okay. Now, let me see here. Um, let's go here. No, not this one, not this one, not this one. Let's hold up. Uh-oh. I'm gonna take it down or something. I'm gonna take it down or something. Let me see. Let me see here. Oh, I'm sorry. Goes to transform the world, our world. Okay. They want to transform the world. The Sustainable Development Goals are a call for action by all countries. You see that? They want everybody on one accord. That's called a NWO. Okay. Poor, rich, and middle income, right? Rich or poor, small or great, free or bond. They want you on deck, right? To promote prosperity while protecting the planet. They recognize that ending poverty must go hand in hand with strategies that build economic growth and address a range of social needs, including education, health, social protection, and job opportunities, while tackling climate change and environmental protection. All right. What does it mean by tackling climate change, right? And environmental protection? In other words, they want to give you a digital footprint, pretty much, right? Track what you're doing, what you're eating, where you're going. This is how crazy it's going to get. To where you're being told, hey, look, you travel too much this year. Or you use your car too much. Use the train. Ride a bike. Okay? That's how crazy it's going to get, man. I know it sounds, weird as hell. But that's how crazy the world going to get. This is why in these 17 goals, they have something called a 15-minute city. To where you only can travel within this 15-minute, radius or range, whatever, so that you can't pollute the world no more. Okay? So-called, right? You're polluting the world. It's all crazy. Yeah, but here we go right here, man. They got it right here for you. Okay? All you brothers got to do is just go through and read it, man. It says, the Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenge we face, including those related to poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. the 17 goals are all interconnected. And in order to leave no one behind. You see that? They want everybody on deck. Okay. It said it is important that we achieve them all by 2030. Why do Esau keep highlighting 2030, man? You hear them all talk about 2030. I mean, they keep pushing it. So this year almost out, right? We're almost in 2025, so-called, right? So there's only 5 years left. They want these goals to be implemented amongst all governments. So we're all going to be on the same accord, okay? They want everybody to use them CBDCs, to have digital IDs, so on and so forth. This is the NWO, okay? It says, click on any specific goal below to learn about each issue. And now, watch this one here, right? The first one. Okay, I'm going to click on this one, then I'll get back to the video. So, I'm going to get to the point, right? Of what they really want in this thing, because they didn't change it up from last time I clicked on this. They have truly updated this page here, okay? So, let me see here. Where is that? Yeah, they changed up everything. They changed it all up. Let me see here. Yeah, they changed it all up. I mean, shit, I gotta go through back myself and read through it. Because in the old ones, all right, they speaks about giving you digital digital IDs. I guess they reworded. Yeah, they reworded it, man. But I can go back to my older videos and I can find it. I'm going to my older videos, I can find it. I can guarantee I can find it. Not that. Might just go to my channel. View channel. Okay. Let me see here. SDG. I got it. Sustainable. Let me see. It should pop up. No? It's cool. I'll find it. But they speak about it, man. I made this video too long anyway. But we know in there they say, they speak about the digital IDs, bro. It's in there, okay? But here we go.
States have to meet by 2030, which is why you see a lot of companies working towards targets like zero emissions by 2030, etc. This is also why countries are rushing towards CBDCs, digital IDs, and smart cities. If you've watched any of our videos on these topics, you'll know that this dystopia...
Heard what he said? I knew I was telling the truth. This is why countries are pushing for what again, bro? Say it again. Okay. Say it again.
23 member states have to meet by 2030, which is why you see a lot of companies working towards targets like zero emissions by 2030, etc. This is also why countries are rushing towards CBDCs, digital IDs, and smart cities.
Because that is contained within the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, they're all contained within that. I've read it 1,000 times. Okay, I read it 1,000 times, man. This is what these elites want. All right, so as I'm reading in that document, all right, they want everybody to be on one accord with this shit. Okay, they want everybody on one accord, bro. This is serious. So be expecting this, man, very soon. Okay, I'm only 2 minutes into the video, but this is what the world is getting ready to experience, man. All right, is these SDGs, bro, okay, being pushed on a global scale. All right.
If you've watched any of our videos on these topics, you'll know that this dystopian tech is being pushed by the biggest corporations and governments, and is designed not only just to track your every move, but to control your every move. And you can learn more about these technologies by using the link in the description.
Hey man, hey, what do you do for a living?
Me, I'm a crypto YouTuber. Yeah, yes, pretty.
You, what?
Now, the UN holds an annual General Assembly summit every September. The latest summit took place in New York on the 22nd of September and attracted over 4,000 people, ranging from government officials and heads of state to civil society and non-government organizations. In the 2 days prior to the summit, the UN held a so-called Action Days event, which was attended by more than 7,000 people from all walks of life. In other words, the plebs were allowed to the teaser, but only the elites were allowed to the main event. Per a UN press release, the Action Days event received various commitments to action by stakeholders and over $1 billion in pledges to go towards digital governance. Not for the entire efforts of the UN, but just for digital governance. That is a mind-melting amount of money. Anyway, according to that same press release, this summit was one of the most ambitious gatherings of world leaders in many years, not only covering a broader than usual agenda, but with some issues that countries haven't been able to agree upon for decades on the agenda. But what was the purpose of this meeting? Well, it was to create the so-called Pact for the Future. Now, the goal of the Pact for the Future is to give institutions a framework to adapt to the modern world. In the words of UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, quote, "We cannot create a future fit for our grandchildren with a system built by our grandparents." Key global issues covered in the pact include peace and security, sustainable development, climate change, human rights, and what was it? Oh yes, global governance. Well, at least they're not being secretive about it. What's crazy is that the UN describes the pact as, quote, "a strong statement of countries' commitment to the United Nations, the international system, and international law." Now, this is nuts because it's basically bragging about the power and control the UN has over these countries. If you watched our previous video on the UN, you'll know that once a country is part of the United Nations, it's almost impossible to leave, even if it wants to. Anyway, the press release explains that the Pact for the Future is based on the inputs and expertise of governments, civil society, and, quote, "other key partners." In this case, that would be the public sector, with entities like the World Economic Forum, or WEF, and the private sector, with institutions like the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank. As you can imagine, this opens the doors to all kinds of corruption, and the fact that these organizations aren't even mentioned in the full 66-page document only creates more suspicion. But what did this 66-page document actually reveal? Well,
now, real quick, okay, I found what I was looking for. Just, real quick, I had to find a video from 7 months ago, okay? A video from 7 months ago, but I found it. All right. Let me go back to my page here, and I can pull it up. I actually found a few videos on it. Okay. So we're going to type in more digital IDs. All right, so this video here. Just wanted to show this here, man. The plan. No matter what Esau says out of his mouth, it all leads back to his plans. Okay? So going into the scripture real quick, this is Revelation chapter. Salakia, maybe you can't see it. Right? But this one says what? Digital IDs linked with bank and mobile money accounts can improve the delivery of social protection coverage and serve to better reach eligible beneficiaries. Digital technologies may help to reduce leakage, errors, and costs in the design of social protection programs. So that's the first goal, right, of these sustainable development goals. Digital IDs linked with bank and mobile money accounts. So they want everybody to have a digital ID. I knew I wasn't tripping, bro. I've read this 100 times, 1,000 times, 2,000 times. Okay. I constantly read through this shit so I can put it in my brain to have an understanding somewhat of what these devils are trying to push and how what he's pushing links to biblical prophecy, man. Okay. You got to go into this information, man. All right. You got to get into it. Now, I also found another video. About the summon of the future, right? I found another video I did about the summon of the future, a point that I wanted to highlight. Summit of the future. A global financial system, meaning what every, right? Oh, my bad. If you go here, right, this is what he quoted, where it says, here. Hold up. Let me see if I can. But this is what I'm reading here, right? It says a global financial system that works for all. That's what I wanted to focus on, right? A global financial system, meaning what everybody around the world will be using this same system, okay? Take a wild guess what that system gonna be. The MOTB, man. Let's go to the precept. Okay, go to the next chapter. Now I want to TB, man, real quick, right? So I'm gonna read a small portion here, right? Where it says, and it says, a transformed international financial architecture is fit for purpose, more inclusive, representative, effective, and resilient, responsive to the world today rather than as it looked following the Second World War. This architecture invests upfront in SDGs, climate action, and future generation. This entails reforms in the following 6 areas: global economic governance, debt relief, and whatever, yada, yada, yada. The point being is that at the summit of the future, back in September, this is what all the nations agreed to. They agreed to a global financial system, bro. This is why way back when I kept talking about this, okay, this video is what, 6 months old. This video is 6 months old, man. So I was already on top of this shit for, months in advance, saying, hey, look, bro, these devils are really saying we're going to come with a new global financial system. And the apostles been talking about it. Okay. So this is real, man. They've already agreed upon this shit, bro. Okay? They've already agreed upon it. So this election means nothing. All right? It don't matter who get in office, man. They've already agreed to this global digital compact. Okay? So let's go back. Okay. You know what? Let me see here. Hold up. Let's see here. All right, here we go.
Well, it contains a total of 56 actions aiming to achieve 5 objectives. We'll leave a link to the full report in the description, but if you'd rather put your time to better use, then don't worry, because we'll be breaking it down for you right here. Now, the first objective of the UN's Pact for the Future is to support sustainable development and improve developmental financing. What's crazy is that the UN's press release literally says, quote, "The entire pact is designed to turbocharge implementation of the SDGs." Why is this crazy? Well, remember when we said that the UN is rushing towards rolling out things like CBDCs to reach its 2030 goals? Well, considering we're approaching 2025, the UN basically has just 5 years left to implement all the changes needed. Put differently, the UN is more desperate than ever to get these things rolled out. It's not all doom and gloom, though. Another planned action is to eradicate poverty and end world hunger. And there are also plans to close the financing gap for developing countries to allow them to meet their SDG targets, which the UN says is a major concern. This is likely because, as the UN itself points out earlier in the report, without participation from every single country, the whole thing falls apart. Other action plans include the upkeep of a sustainable trading system and investing back into the people in order to boost social trust and cohesion. In other words, give the plebs a bit of money and that'll keep them quiet. There's a whole bunch of actions aiming to protect human rights and gender equality. And not only that, but the pact outlines the need to protect human rights defenders with guidance coming from local and regional governments. Now, when it comes to ensuring peace and security around the world, the UN claims that this is the most radical commitment to Security Council reform since the 1960s.
Right. And as you can see, bro, they keep talking about international peace and security, right? Peace and safety. What does the Bible say? Okay. Here in 1 Thessalonians, man. When Esau say peace and safety, right? I mean, this is like word for word, damn near. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1. It says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." So they pushing all this peace and security crap, but the Bible says don't take heed to that in so many words. They talking peace and safety, but the Lord getting ready to bring destruction, man. Okay? These devils getting ready to bring hell on the world. All right. And as he was saying, they only got 5 years left to try and accomplish this. All right. Now, also in Job, what does it say inside of Job? Right? Because they're trying to squeeze this thing out before 2030. Here in Job chapter 20, right? It speaks about Esau's plans and how pretty much he's going to struggle in trying to establish this NWO. So Job chapter 20, verse 22, it says, "In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits." So when he get this NWO up and running, man, he's going to have problems, right? It says, "Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him." Now, who is the wicked talking about here? Okay. It should say the laborers, all right? If you go to the word wicked here in the Hebrew, right? I don't know how good my Hebrew is. This is H6001. The word is Imal, okay? And it says laborer, sufferer, wretched one, laborer, workman, sufferer. So that goes into all people. Okay, Jake included in that too, right? So the word should be laborer. So it should say every hand of the laborer, right, shall come upon him. So people are going to rebel against this devil, right? It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and coming out of the body, yea, the glittering sword coming out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. So the Lord going to destroy this man. All right, but they're pushing heavy to get this thing up and running, man. Here we go.
There are a number of actions highlighted that aim to build and sustain global peace. Some of these actions are a little far-fetched, such as the commitment to completely disarm all nuclear weapons around the world. It's very unlikely that this would happen. That's simply because it would be too much power for any country to sacrifice. Almost every nuclear weapon in the world is kept as an attack deterrent, so whichever country ditches that deterrent first would leave itself theoretically wide open to an attack.
Right. And we know, according to biblical prophecy, ain't nobody giving up their missiles. That's not going to happen. So that's a roadblock that they're going to meet. We know, according to biblical prophecy, these nuclear missiles will be used for the Lord's judgment, man, to bring down the beast system, okay? So they can go ahead and scratch it out of their little pact, okay? These weapons will be used, bro. Here we go.
From others. In any case, other actions named here are the sorts of things you'd expect from a global government trying to promote a more peaceful world. They include the obvious combating of terrorism and protecting innocent civilians in times of armed conflict. And in the case of those in need, the UN plans to ensure that humanitarian efforts are carried out so that everyone gets the support they require. Of course, prevention is better than cure, so the UN has pledged to promote cooperation and understanding between its member states in the hopes that this will diffuse any tensions. However, it also makes it clear that it will comply with the rulings of the International Court of Justice, or ICJ. In case you didn't know, the ICJ is a part of the UN and draws heavily from its predecessor, the Permanent Court of International Justice, which was established by the League of Nations, the UN's predecessor. Intriguingly, one action explicitly aims to tackle transnational organized crime and illicit financial flows, especially when these financial flows happen online. Could this be a veiled reference to crypto? Well, we ran a search of the 66-page document for keywords like cryptocurrency, blockchain, and Bitcoin, but none of them got a mention. Still, the wording hints at an attack on crypto nonetheless. Maybe that's just us being paranoid, though. Now, this ties into the next objective set out in the Pact for the Future, which is the focus on science, technology, innovation, and digital cooperation. I know, quite the mouthful. Essentially, the UN's action plans here are to take advantage of the latest advancements in technology to benefit humanity. There are also some rather outlandish commitments, such as preventing an all-out arms race in outer space. You know, because when global governments just isn't enough, it's time to govern the whole galaxy. Jokes aside, what this actually means is to govern the companies dealing with space exploration. So think Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic or Elon Musk's SpaceX. And speaking of Elon Musk, his recent unveiling of Tesla's Optimus robots could catch the attention of the UN for other reasons too. That's because another peace and security focus is the avoidance of new technologies being misused and weaponized. Not to scare anybody, but, well, we've all seen films like Terminator and I, Robot, right? Probably best we have something in place for those eventualities. Now, one part of the Pact for the Future is the Global Digital Compact, which the UN claims is the first comprehensive global framework for digital cooperation and AI governance. Essentially, the Global Digital Compact aims to get everybody connected to a safer internet, with protection for children being at the forefront of governance. Now, sounds great in theory, until you realize that in practice it would mean requiring a digital ID to use the internet to prove your age. There are also plans to integrate digital law and human rights and to implement better data protection standards by 2030. Although it
Now, real quick, he mentioned that in this digital compact, you will need a digital ID to pretty much access the internet. The reason that Esau going to do that is to be able to track you, right? You can't go incognito with a digital ID. That would be impossible. So whatever you post online, whatever video you like, any post you make on social media, they will know exactly who made it. So you can't say, oh, no, or somebody else did that. You're going to have to scan your face or scan your finger, something to say, hey, okay, this is me. And once you get on the internet and you do something that's contrary to what they like, they're going to come and get you. They're going to take down your social media accounts, freeze you out. It's going to be hell. So I'm saying this because they really going to come after the prophets. Believe that, okay? They're going to come after their prophets. Yes, they're going to get everybody else too, but they want to stop this word, man. Here we go.
It should be noted that the press release seems to suggest the opposite, saying the plan is to, quote, make data more open and accessible with agreements on open source data, models, and standards. You can almost hear Mark Zuckerberg's circuits whirring with excitement. Okay, the next objective set out in the Pact for the Future is the protection of younger and future generations. There's not much to say here, but basically the UN's actions will involve investing in youth development and protecting the rights of children and young adults. This will aim to promote the social and economic development of the younger generation to allow them to achieve their full potential. In other words, investment in education. The Pact for the Future also has something called the Declaration on Future Generations. This is the first of its kind and basically puts future generations at the heart of decision-making. And not only is the younger generation being protected, there's also the chance for younger people to have a say in future decisions on both the national and international levels. Now, as cool as this is, it's also kind of bizarre when you think about it. After all, surely the whole point of the UN is to make the world a better place for our children to inherit. It makes you wonder why this is the first of its kind. It's almost as if the UN has thus far existed solely to serve the needs of the elites above anyone else. Okay, and now for the really juicy part. The final objective of the Pact for the Future is the transformation of global governance. This one is by far the most important, and that's because it not only outright acknowledges the UN's role as a single global government, but also because it suggests that this global government is failing. In fact, there are more actions for this objective than any of the previous 4 objectives. So it's almost poetic that this is the final section. It's as if they saved the best for last. Specifically, there are 18 planned actions to be taken for the UN to reinvigorate itself. These include a reform and strengthening of the United Nations Security Council. What's crazy is that the UN highlights the need to improve intergovernmental negotiations on the Security Council as a matter of urgency. This suggests that the UN is terrified of losing control and is desperate to whip these governments back into line. Other action plans include improving the relationship between its member states and increasing the efforts to revitalize the work of the General Assembly. Again, this suggests that the UN is quickly losing control. As a reminder, the General Assembly is literally the group of international representatives that had this meeting in the first place. The UN also wants to strengthen its Economic and Social Council and its Peacebuilding Commission, both of which are another part of the UN structure. So, in a nutshell, the entire body of the United Nations needs a good shake-up if it wants to maintain control. But here is where things get insane. Not only does the UN plan to restructure the way it operates, but it also has plans to accelerate the reform of the international financial architecture. The key word that jumps out there is accelerate, because this heavily implies that the wheels are already in motion, which, as we already know, means the rollout of dystopian central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. There are 6 actions that relate to this financial reform, including plans to strengthen the voice of developing countries and finance the progress of the SDGs. The UN also wants this reform to be able to ensure that countries can borrow money more efficiently and have access to emergency funds in the event of another economic crisis or complex global events, like another pandemic, for instance. So then, what happens next? Well, as the UN highlights right at the start of the report, its plans of achieving its SDG targets will fail if it can't get all of its member states on board. The obvious problem...
They will. They will. All right. So that's pretty much the sum of that video, man. As you can see, these devils, man, okay, they ain't messing around. They're pushing hard to achieve their goals. We know, according to prophecy, that Esau will eventually get this thing up and running, right? And that MOTB, okay, will be established, and people want to take it. All right, it's gonna be hell, but hey, it's prophecy, man. But Esau implementing his system is gonna, pretty much seal his downfall, man. All right, the Lord ain't gonna allow this man to, just oppress the whole damn world and do all this crap. All right, with his damn AI and all this BS. He gonna lose. Okay, so I'm gonna end here with this in Ezekiel 33. All right, and let me get it in the NLT. Let me get the NLT. It says, "Son of man, your people talk about you in their houses." Ezekiel 33, verse 30. "And whisper about you at the doors. They say to each other, 'Come on, let's go hear the prophet tell us what the Lord is saying.' So my people come pretending to be sincere and sit before you. They listen to your words, but they have no intentions on doing what you say. Their mouths are full of lustful words, and their hearts seek only after money. You are very entertaining to them, like someone who sings love songs with a beautiful voice or plays fine music on an instrument. They hear what you say, but they don't act on it. But when all these terrible things happen to them, as they certainly will, then they will know a prophet has been among them." I'm going to close out with that, man. All praise Yahweh B'Shem Shai, B'Shem Chakadash. Shalom. Hey, shalom, Mike. How about Shalom?